Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad to hear this morning. Got a good show lined up, getting ready for a good weekend in the outdoors. But first, we got today's special guest. We got all kinds of interesting things to talk about. Let's take a look at our weather brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning right up here in Southport, not too far from Studio B. And that's a great group of guys and ladies that do in that company there. Really appreciate them being part of our team. High today, 72, low 51. That sounds like a pre-springtime right there. The water temperature went up 2 degrees. That's up to 62.6. So that's that little movement we've been talking about. You know, for 3 weeks we had around 60, 61. And then we get that 1 degree, 61 yesterday, and then 62 today. That's a strong little trend right there. I know some of y'all don't get excited as I do about this water temperature, but I do. Our river readings, the Apalachicola at Bluntstown at 8.5 this morning. Got a little bit of a bump in it, but pretty steady at 8.5. And the Choctawhatchee at Caryville is steady at 6 foot right there, and it's going to be steady on through the weekend. Got some really good weather coming up. Now we've got a little front coming through. I say a little front, it's going to be in a day or two, and so we'll sort of have to work around it, but we'll know more about it tomorrow as we get ready for the weekend. All right, the wind direction, again, out of the south, like yesterday, it was blowing at 9 yesterday. Well, today's going to blow at 10, so it's not a bad day to be on the water. All right, let's take a break. We'll come right back with our guest. Okay, welcome back, and welcome to Daniel Cole, Cole & Associates. I was looking on your truck, and he said associates, and then you got fire, you got all kinds of stuff on your truck.
Yeah, we cover a lot of bases.
I'm telling you. Oh, you were sick last month. We missed you. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I had the whole month I was out, and I didn't do a darn thing, but lay and feel sorry for myself. So.
Are you like anybody else when you're out a little bit, the work sort of piles up on you?
Yeah, it did. Now we're running like crazy trying to catch up again.
Catch up. Well, what else? You've been doing some interesting kind of work, and what are some of the things you've been doing?
Well, we've been doing some work. We've recently been looking at some of the equipment at some of the state parks that have, you know, the marine boats and stuff they've had. One of them we were looking at the equipment, trying to see what it would take, you know, just keep general maintenance and stuff up. But they're at Wakulla Springs, and then you know, we're looking at the future. You know, maybe looking at some of the other spots too. And it's amazing, those old boats, they've been there since 1969, and they've operated steadily that whole time period.
I wonder, I'd like to find out who built all those old boats and all, because that's part of a boat building legacy here in Florida, especially around the water, these old boat builders.
Well, the first one was built in South Florida, but they were all built mostly by different contractors. The reason was that Mr. Ed Ball, who was responsible for all that, you know, he's very popular in all our history here. That's naturalist history, and he would build one, and then he'd, you know, sometimes, you know, he didn't like something, he'd get another company, hey, duplicate this boat I've got. But it's a very unique system because they've got their own rail system for pulling the boats out, doing maintenance and stuff like that. So it's really a neat part of Florida history, all of those water parks, because used to be when everybody came down to South Florida, or Florida, you know, it wasn't to go see Epcot or Disney World, something like that. That was come see these different places like, you know, Silver Springs, you know, Homosassa Springs,
Weeki Wachee.
Yeah. You know, that was Florida. That's what you came for. You worked your way all the way down to the Keys, and then you got to see the Indian villages and the Seminoles and the Gators and all the Gator farms and stuff all along the way. That was Florida back then.
That's so interesting because everybody now thinks, like you said, Epcot and Disney, but back in the early days of tourism, Florida was, so many people want to come to Florida, but that's what they actually wanted to see.
That's right.
It was all natural. You know, there's all these natural springs. They were just amazed at it. And of course, the glass bottom boats at Wakulla Springs, I think if you've been around, everybody's been on them. But you brought up an interesting point a while ago. I remember when we went as a kid, and you went as a kid, you could see at the bottom and see all kind of mastodon bones and all kind of stuff. But now, what's going on now, you think?
Well, they're studying it as to why, but the water clarity has diminished. And so there's only certain months out of the year that you can actually do that now. And, to kind of help preserve that, they actually, they excavated one of the mastodons and put it in a museum so that people could see it. And, but the reality is that, there's only like 1 month or 2 of the year that they can actually use the glass bottom boats, because that's all predicated by what the water clarity is for them to even run them. So
That's interesting.
we're hoping they find a solution. And like everywhere, something people need to realize is, be careful if you go into this body of water. Be careful, because you can pick up these aquatic hitchhikers and you introduce them into another body of water, and that's another thing that's affected things, is that they're having hydrilla and stuff there, and thank goodness they've got manatees eat that, so they're kind of keeping it at bay there. But we see like what happened even here with Deer Point. It's so clogged now you can't even hardly run.
Well,
So
we'll talk about that. You're exactly right. You get this invasive species of non-native plants and all, and we just got to stay on top of it. And the word outdoorsman should always go next to the word conservationist, because all outdoorsmen are conservationists. We all want to take care of the environment.
Exactly.
And I've always felt strong about that. I know a lot of viewers talk about that a lot. And all these things we do is to help every little thing we do. But I know, getting back to that water clarity, that's just that's coming from the Florida aquifer.
That's right.
That spring is. And so to me, you got to think about, why is the aquifer not clear like it used to be? So it'd be interesting to get some studies done on it. And we're not all tree huggers, but we want to take care of our environment.
Well, a lot of people don't know that's actually the deepest spring in the world. And they have done studies, and it's very hard how they make that happen. But they've actually mapped over 5 miles of underwater cave, in that spring.
Wow.
And that's a dangerous proposition, but they know more about it. That's the lengths they're going to do that. So it's nice.
Yeah, a lot of great history there. And again, the interesting about the boats and all, about how they built those and all, because the heritage of boat building is all along the Florida coastline.
Sure it is.
And inland, so that's really good. You probably don't see many old boats anymore, do you, in your business?
We do once in a while, but it's not like it used to be.
Yeah. What about now getting on people like Miller Marine and all that? Are you still busy with them?
Very, very. And we really love that operation. We love being out there. That's just their family is just such a quality family. And we love them to death and love working with them.
I haven't seen Mandy and Megan lately. I used to see them on a regular basis. We got to get them to come back on the show and get caught up. So the next time you go out there, tell them I expect them to call me
I'll actually be out there this morning, so I'll let them know.
And really, we're not as the crow flies, less than a mile from the
That's right.
Miller Marine, so they have no excuse about driving into town now. They just come on over here to Studio B. Most of the captains now, they're sort of winding things down, getting ready for their season as far as repair and everything, and they're winding down and getting back in the water. Is that what you're seeing?
Exactly.
How long do they use, like, say, a regular charter boat, that we have out here? How long do they keep them dry docked usually?
Well, it depends. You don't want to keep it dry docked long, because you're paying lay days while it's out. But they'll usually pull them out this time of year, and then whatever they need to do to, bring them back up, to good operational standard. They usually each year will improve their boat, whether if it's furniture, comforts for their guests, whatever. So there's always something going on each year in the off season. But we've got some really responsible, great captains in our area who take really good care of their boats, and that really pays off dividends when the visitors come. They enjoy their experience more.
That's exactly right. And again, the electronics are just amazing. Every year it seems like something happens with electronics. No telling what the future's going to have. They're probably going to have the fish not only identified by how big he is and if he's hungry
They
or
might.
not.
They might.
He ate last
When
night.
they do, maybe I'll start catching some.
All right, we're going to take our break. We'll be right back with Daniel. Okay, welcome back. It's in with Daniel, our boat expert here on Panhandle Outdoors. And anytime you have questions about anything, or give Daniel a call, he knows a lot about them. And you were talking about the mastodon earlier. So last week we had Lindsay and we had 2 girls on that came on and talked about tracking and all. And they brought me this is a beaver. Okay, this is a beaver skull. And they wanted me to have it because these are the teeth, not the rib cage. These are the teeth Okay, they broke off right here. They fit in here, and you wonder how in the world. There's of course two of them, of course. So you wonder how in the world. That's all they do, just chew on the wood all day. I mean, that's what they do, is chew on wood. And then they build those dams, they drag it over, build those dams. But the reason they're able to, you're talking about evolution and nature and all, about how in the world, you know, they can do that. And there's jaws, I mean, they're not that strong, but anyway, they wanted me to have it. So if you wonder what this is a beaver skull, and these are the teeth. And it goes back to the mastodon and all those, where these teeth right here, that's how they survive. So it's always, the nature around us is always fascinating. Now again, they didn't go out and just kill these willingly. They were asked by the landowners and got a nuisance control permit because these beavers were damming up back behind the farms, and the water was flooding the farmland, and the farmers got to make a living. So that's how all this happens when you get a nuisance control. A lot of times up in attics and those kind of things, different things in attics. So that's why the girls do that in addition to the tracking wounded animals and all. So, okay, so what else we got? So, what about, you getting ready to do some quail hunting, or we got, that ain't too far,
I'm
right?
waiting. I've been enjoying the tar out of that. We've been a few times, but it's, I tell you, I have to wait for a call. I got another guy that's always, he gets it arranged and does everything, and when he does, he says, "Hey, Dan, come on, let's go shoot some quail." So
Well, with quail is unique. I know we can go fishing a lot on our own, but the quail hunt, you want a good dog. Well, you got to wait for the guy with a dog to give you a call, and that's what I've seen. But it's to me, March is just late February, March is just a great time to quail hunt.
Yeah, and we have more places cropping up locally that are actually catering to that, so that's pretty nice. We usually go up to Alabama, but I actually went to Marianna last time, and it was a lot shorter trip, but we had a lot of fun. So.
Well, I think, I keep hearing mixed reports. Billy Grant's on yesterday and said the quail population in Appalachia has gone from like 300 harvested to less than 100. And then I hear reports like this. Other people said the wild quail, are sort of making a little bit of comeback. So I think it's whatever area you're in.
Well, I think one of the biggest things we've got to concentrate on, and it's a touchy subject for some people, but predator control.
Yep. Okay, it's time to get up. Okay.
So we, have such an influx of, especially coyotes right now. Coyotes are. Yeah. I saw a study the other day that said that a typical den mother coyote raising her cubs will take 19 fawns in just that one, bringing up that one clutch of cubs.
Well, what's going on? They're predators, and that's an easy prey for them. It's as simple as that. And like I say, we've had a big influence of them over the years. We used to not have any coyotes.
No, we didn't. That's another non-invasive species that showed up.
I know it. And
really
invasive. And ironically, the call they use, these guys and girls who go and hunt for them, they use a wounded rabbit, a squeal.
Right.
And that's the call they use. So that tells you what they're going to do. They're going to go to something wounded. It's sort of,
right.
It's sort of hard to talk, in nature.
But they're such a resilient breed. They live off anything, berries, anything that's wounded, carrion, anything. I mean, they just almost anything a coyote can survive on it, and that's what makes them so prolific. And that's like our hog population, same thing. We have a lot of farmers locally that are constantly being decimated by the hogs, and so
we talk about
there's some
that.
people who are like very sensitive about control of those type species, but without it, there is no future for the deer, the quail, and the others because they'll be gone.
And you see that a lot too. And talking about again about animals, just the characteristics of them. I'm talking about animals moving at night and different things, and be careful driving and to just tag on to what we're talking about. But they're so unpredictable. Gail and I went up to Dothan the other day to visit with her sister, and on Highway 79, or we went up 77, and we saw 4 different deer that had been hit within the last day or two, side of the road, and that was on this past Monday, and that's just on that one stretch from here in Dothan. You can imagine throughout the Panhandle, so you got to be really careful when you're going out.
I hate to see any wildlife get thrown over.
I do too.
There's some people who just run a raccoon or a possum over intentionally.
Yeah.
They think they're doing some sort of service, but I hate to see it. I like everything to live its life and do what it's got to do, within reason. So it's just something you don't like to see.
That's true. All right, we're going to take our final break and be right back with Daniel. Okay, welcome back. See, we're Daniel Cole, a fellow outdoorsman. He does a good job. He makes a living off the outdoors with boats and all, but he does a good job enjoying the outdoors. Okay, let's take a look at our fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. Looking at 5:12 to 7:12 this morning and 5:42 to 7:42 tonight. I do have one announcement before we get back with Daniel. The Bay County Ducks Unlimited, I got a poster right here. They're having their banquet. It's going to be at the barn at Winter's Haven. I'm going to find out where that is, but at the bottom of it, Randy Alsabrook, and there's his phone number, 596-2287. And we'll talk more about this later. And always good to have these outdoor banquets. That's the Bay County Ducks Unlimited. I know other counties have Ducks Unlimited chapters, and I've always been a strong believer of the Ducks Unlimited organization. They're talking about conservation and all. They planted over the years all these big fields and all, and we've had good luck with that. And again, we're talking about predators a while ago. We just mentioned this off air about how prevalent the wild hogs can get. And someone was telling me the other day they were studying them, and they can start having piglets at like 7 months, not even a year old. They'll start having piglets.
Yeah, that's why they're so invasive. We were talking about before the break about animals and living their lives and doing what they're going to do. It's important for people to remember that when you have these invasive species like this, like hogs and coyotes, they don't belong here. They have moved in, so they actually destroy a habitat. They destroy everything. So kind of like a cattle farmer taking care of his, we're taking care of deer and everything else, quail, you name it, turkeys, all of these different things, ducks. You have to protect them just like
Sure.
Cattle farmers would take care of their cattle, against predators, and it's just a fact of life. You have to.
And then you look at the same way with the elk, but a lot of times man will come in there without limits and all, and all of a sudden things wipe out. Like the elk was in eastern, around the Smoky Mountain area originally, and they shot them all out. But then now they have them back in the Carolinas, and also the buffalo. Buffalo herd was decimated.
Yeah,
there were some little pockets of them that made it. So it's been interesting watching the history of wildlife and all. We got a few minutes left. Let's get back to boats now. We're looking at, springtime is right around the corner. So what should, these private boat owners like us and all, what do we need to be looking at, starting doing right now?
Well, it may be painful, but if your boat's been laid up, you probably want to drain the fuel tank, get the old fuel out, get your fuel filters changed, stuff like that. If it's not been in use, if you've been using it through the fall or winter, then of course it's fine. But some of us we're really busy, so our boats don't get out very much. Mine, I haven't had it out in probably close to a year. But
are you going to drain your gas?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's just not worth the trouble that you're going to have if you leave it in there and you start clogging.
Do you use fuel stabilizer much?
I do. I do. I like the stabilizer. They make it specifically for. I do a couple things. I like stabilizer because it really helps take care of it. But there's a few places in town. Spend the extra money and get the non-ethanol gas. Don't run ethanol gas for your boat motor. So people think, well, I can get a stabilizer that's made especially for that. You can, but over time, you're still going to have an effect from the ethanol because the engine was not made to run on that. So even though it costs more, I'll always put non-ethanol fuel in my stuff. And
the big thing, everybody's going to be taking to get a tune-up. I was at BJ's Marine the other day talking to Roger, and he's 2 weeks out right now. If you take your boat, and of course, the reason he's 2 weeks out because he does such a good job. You don't find, mechanics like that. You don't spend a lifetime doing that. But he did tell me he has some brand new parts on motors that have gone out of date. Some of the older carburetor kits and all. If you do stuff like that yourself, he does have some surplus new stuff like that
Gotcha.
is hard to find now.
Yep.
So, but yeah, everybody's going to be swamped to the, especially in March. Got to get my boat ready. Well, you're going to have to wait 2 weeks.
We always forget that, but usually about January, you need to be making plans to have it in.
I know. And then
Same thing with lawnmowers. My wife's gonna be about lawnmowers. Your lawnmower ain't getting service. I was like, okay, we'll get there.
You got to bring that up. But outdoor. Typically we spent most of the show talking about other things and not getting our boat ready. But that's how outdoors we do. We're gonna be hunting and doing all kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden we got to get our boat ready. And
It's not fun getting towed.
I know.
You might show up on Panhandle Outdoors in a picture if you get towed.
I've seen we've had some funny pictures and all, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I got about a minute or so left. Any closing comments? The trailer, bearings on the trailer. We'll talk about that.
Bearings on the
I
trailer,
passed somebody the other day,
tires.
side of the road.
Yep.
I knew exactly what it was.
Tires. Be sure you get your tires are in good shape. Just
You used to, between Panama City and Weewall on Saturday, way back in the day, when everybody would just head for the creek, every Saturday afternoon you'd see somebody. Well, there'd always be one boat trailer side of the road because we used to laugh about that. Just how long before we see one? Every trip we'd find one, but we're better about that now. Actually, I think bearings are better now. I think they're a little stronger.
bearings are better. The invention of the bearing buddies have really helped a lot.
That's it, yeah.
So.
Yeah. So
You used to never take that cap off. Now you can see what's going on.
Well, and also the fishing gear itself, all kind of. We were talking the other day. We're going to go back. I'm going to use some cane pole fishing this year. I want to do some cane pole fishing.
Really?
I'm going to get back to do some of that. Gail loves it, and I love it too. So we're going to do it on occasion.
I've got a buddy who loves that. Just never have done it.
Yeah, we're going to get that. We're about to run out of time. Daniel,
Okay.
Thank you, buddy.
Yep. Thank you.
Good job.
Good to be
Appreciate
here.
having Daniel Cole on. Giving Daniel Cole any questions on your boats. Y'all do something good today for your fellow man. You have a great day. Enjoy the outdoors, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.